Over the course of the past few weeks, we have seen the trend of NFTs start to make their way into gaming. And as a result, we have seen a lot of gamers pushing back against the idea whenever it seems to crop up. Two main examples of this happening are Ubisoft released a series of NFTs for Ghost Recon Breakpoints, which were in-game cosmetic items that you could claim in a limited quantity. Some of these required 600 hours of playtime in the game in order to even qualify to claim it. And the idea is that there would be sort of a market opened up with Ubisoft Quartz, their NFT arm, and Digits, their term for classifying these items. And then that would result in potentially being able to kind of assign a real world value to these, and then at some point in the future, Ubisoft taking a cut of the revenue there. We also saw a promotional campaign for Stalker 2, which is saying it's using the blockchain to create an NFT-based NPC character where a player can kind of scan themselves into the game and then trade essentially the rights to be that character around using an NFT as kind of the license to do that. This is less of a microtransaction and more of kind of a promotional marketing campaign tied to the blockchain. Both of these have been met with pretty overwhelmingly negative responses. The Ubisoft Quartz trailer was kind of drowned in dislikes on YouTube. The Stalker idea was roasted. Even Ubisoft internally, reports say that some of its own developers are pushing back on the idea that they're worried that Ubisoft's embracing NFTs is going to be a move in the wrong direction, or that their own games would have to start using it. And I just wanted to touch on briefly why gamers are so skeptical of this and why maybe the crypto crowd doesn't quite understand why they're so skeptical of it when it's kind of all the rage over there. I think gamers are inherently suspicious of things that seem like very clear new paths toward monetization. It took about a decade for gamers to even kind of start to warm up to the idea of microtransactions and not protest their implementation in any games. Microtransactions being the ability to sell digital items kind of separately from the main game. This has resulted in many controversies over the years, ranging from loot boxes. There was a big trend for a long time as randomized loot boxes being akin to gambling. There are problems with selling power. And then the NFT idea seems kind of the sum of all fears, where very rare items could be classified as NFTs, produced in limited quantity, and then kind of traded in a market where the highest paying players are going to be rewarded with some of the best, most unique stuff in the game, as opposed to being able to earn it in a game just outright. This kind of destroys the concept of many of these games, period. A lot of the motivation for most video games in all genres is sort of getting the best items by achieving in-game feats. And if you start bringing NFTs into the mix, it is easy to see how that kind of devalues rewards if you are suddenly, encouraging people to, say, AFK in a game for 600 hours to be able to claim some unique helmet NFT to then resell. And another kind of core concept here is that people just don't really understand why the blockchain is necessary at all for this. As I said, we have been selling and buying digital items on marketplaces for years and years and years now, and the introduction of the blockchain just seems like kind of an unnecessary step for many people. Proponents of the blockchain NFTs would say that this creates kind of a unique form of digital ownership, so it would be something that kind of gives you the exact right to the item in a way that is more secure than just buying a digital copy of an item, because then, the game developer at any point can kind of just take that away from you if they want, whereas an NFT would kind of guarantee your ability to hang on to that item. Or the kind of future use cases of this is you could buy an item as an NFT in one game, and then another game would recognize that same item as an NFT in its own game, and you could kind of take it between platforms. This is a bit of a pie in the sky idea for most mainstream games. Game development does not really work like this. There would have to be a lot of kind of closed gardens where, like, maybe you could conceive of a system where you take your Ghost Recon helmet into another Ubisoft Assassin's Creed game, but you're never going to be able to take a Ghost Recon helmet into Fortnite or Halo or Destiny or Call of Duty. That is just not how games work. So these kind of dream use cases of the way NFTs are going to work in games does not really seem to resonate with most, the existing perception of how games work and kind of the realities of development. And then games that are kind of entirely NFT based, which is a whole class of blockchain games coming up. The play to earn idea there, the criticism there is that it takes precedence over the actual gameplay. So you might have some sort of Pokemon looking NFT game that is people kind of grinding out for the game's currency there, and yet show that to traditional gamers and they will kind of laugh it off. So there was a pretty big disconnect between NFT fans and crypto enthusiasts and kind of harder core gamers that are very skeptical of NFTs being kind of the penultimate, like, worst form of microtransaction you could put in a game in a way that would either not really make sense for many of these genres and like the way the industry works, or it would kind of actively damage the economies of these games or motivations to play and rewards paying, exorbitant amounts of money for artificially scarce digital items. So we're only kind of seeing the beginning of this, and we don't really know where it goes from here, but so far all of the kind of NFT projects in mainstream games have been met with hostility, and it is hard to see that ending anytime soon. And yet it is also hard to see it ending where these developers will keep trying this until maybe they find one that works. I am expecting EA to try and figure something out with their Ultimate Team to try and convert that into NFTs and make even more profit from that. So it's easy to see, how many different types of developers will at least try this, but whether they succeed or not is going to be another story, and we will just have to see how that goes.